What's going on, everybody? This is your man, Dr. John C. Turner, aka the Professor JT, and I'm here with another doc chat. And I got some fire doctors here for you today, Dr. Lauren Huff and Dr. Lawrence Davis, and they are coming from the incredible, the amazing Walden University. And I'm telling you, they are going to share some of the greatest tips for you individuals who are doctors, looking to be doctors and even some doctor graduates. If you're from Walden checking us out, if you're currently at Walden, go ahead and hit us up in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Let us know what you're getting your doctorate in, where you're from. Thanks for tuning in on the Doc Chat. So, without further ado, we're going to start with Dr. Lauren Huff. Welcome to the Doc Chat. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We appreciate you for being here.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Lauren Huff. I have my doctorate in public policy and administration from Walden University. I'm the founder CEO of a nonprofit. It's called Daughters Need a Father Incorporated. I founded in 2011. I feel like it's my purpose. I knew there were a lot of organizations out there for fatherless boys and not a lot of programs for fatherless girls. And so that was the impetus for me to start the organization. I also wrote 2 books. One book is called I Chose to Be Victorious, and the other book is called A Guidebook for Single Mothers Raising Daughters. And with that book, I do workshops for single mothers raising daughters, just to give them some tips on ways to raise their daughters so their daughters can reach their full potential.
Absolutely love it. Thank you for being on. And the great Dr. Lawrence Davis. We appreciate your service of military, man. Let me tell you, folks love when we have military members on the Doc Chat. We thank you. We welcome you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. Welcome to the show.
Well, first of all, I need to locate this great Dr. Lawrence Davis. I need to find out who that individual is that you're talking about. But if you want just plain old Dr. Lawrence Davis, you do have him present tonight with you. And I am very pleased to be a part of your show tonight. And it gives me a great honor and a great privilege to be a part of it and to welcome each and everybody here tonight. And again, yes, I'm also a graduate of Walden University, and I'm actually coming to you all live from Lake City, Florida, down here where it is nice and sunny. And my degree is in public policy administration, similar to Dr. Huff's. However, my specialization is in homeland security, policy and coordination. And my specialization and my area of emphasis is in homeland security, which gives me the opportunity to deal a lot with emergency management, policy and coordination. And that degree was obtained through Walden University back in 2015. And I'm just happy to be a part of the show tonight. And I look forward to the discussion and the topics that we're going to engage in tonight.
Absolutely love it. We got my man, Dr. Whitty. Dr. Whitty is waiting on that approval. He is about to be that true Dr. Whitty pretty soon. We appreciate you for always tuning in. And he loves the vets. We appreciate you, Dr. Whitty, so much. We just want to always show love to our veterans, to our great folks. And we showing love to folks in Florida tonight, I see. So, man, we praying for y'all down there, but y'all got that sunny weather. So sometimes it just works out.
I know why you're praying for us, but we won't go there tonight.
What? Okay, I got it.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. So let's see. They said there's a little bit of background noise. Sorry about that. Sometimes that comes with the show, but hopefully we can get that worked out. So why Walden? I told these great individuals we were going to show some statistics. So let me get these pulled up here. And this is off the Walden website. If you could read that, you could see Walden University. Number 1, among 380 accredited institutions awarding doctorate degrees to African American students. A lot of people don't know that. but that is a true statistic. I think I got one more here. Now, when you finish your doctorate degree, there's a document you have to fill out. And if you look at this here, by sex, this is back in 2020, Walden University, out of the top 50 doctorate granting institutions, gave out more doctorate degrees than any other institution in the nation. Why I bring that up is because you get a lot of individuals sometimes that may say, why Walden? Why go to Walden? And so we're going to start with Dr. Huff. And as you start to think about going to get a doctorate degree, the question is, why Walden? Why go to Walden?
I chose Walden University because at the time I had small children and I needed to be available to them. This program was 100% virtual, so I did not have to go to a brick and mortar. And so that was the reason why I chose Walden University.
Well, just let me chime in with respect to why I chose Walden. I actually didn't choose Walden. I had a buddy of mine that we got our master's degrees together, and he suggested one day while we were just talking, I think it was just after we had graduated, and he said, "Man, let's go after our doctorate degree." And I had absolutely no intentions of pursuing a doctorate degree. I had the opportunity, though, while I was going through my master's, to be a teacher's assistant. So I was actually teaching graduate level courses as I was actually pursuing my master's degree. I guess the instructor just thought that I was a good student, so she asked me to help teach some of her classes. So that gave me my first taste of what it would be like to have a doctorate degree. But aside from my buddy suggesting that we go get a doctorate, I had no intentions of pursuing a doctorate. And it just so happens that the school that he was referencing at that time was Walden University. Later, he chose to get a degree from another school. But once I got locked into Walden, I was locked in. And I just kept pursuing that degree until I actually got it. So I tell anybody, I never chose Walden University. It was kind of selected for me. And later on, and throughout the course of this interview, I will be more than happy to detail my experiences while attending Walden University in the pursuit of that doctorate degree. I'm going to be really looking forward to divulging and going into detail into that experience.
Okay. We appreciate all that. A couple people said we had a little bit of awkward noise. Let me know if y'all still hear that. Hopefully I was able to clear that up a little bit. But I can hear my folks here perfectly, which I appreciate. And so, yeah, Dr. Davis, we jumping right into that. We going right into, now you're in the program. You get into the program. It's kind of shocking that you're in this doctorate program. So, Dr. Davis, what was it like? What were your kind of like, oh, wow, I'm really in this thing moment? What was the thing that really got you going?
Okay, my first experiences with Walden, and I'm not going to say that they were good experiences. First of all, at that time, back in 2007, when I started my my doctorate degree, the program of study and the curriculum format that they used was called CAMS. CAMS stands for Knowledge Modules. Okay, Knowledge Academic Modules, and basically, like Dr. Huff said, it's virtual. So what we were doing was going through modules, and you were basically going through these modules and teaching yourself. Okay. And when I first started the program, I didn't like the modules. It was a cumbersome type of program. And uh, as I continue on, after about 1 or 2 terms at Walden, now 1 or 2 terms at Walden is like a year. The way that the system is set up, you have semesters, and then so that you're talking about a year, 2 semesters, and you're trying to go through those knowledge modules. And uh, I was not a fan of the knowledge module, and this was my first experience going from a traditional brick and mortar school to now pursuing a degree virtually. Now, I was familiar with virtual classes and courses. Being in the military, we did a lot of virtual stuff, but I never had any experience with a knowledge module at the graduate level.
Okay.
And you're doing a lot. You're trying to teach yourself, and I was, I just didn't like that format and that program of study. Now, after about a year and a half, almost 2 years, they offered the opportunity to do a more standard and traditional courses, okay, where you had an instructor who had a curriculum, a syllabus, etc., and this particular instructor would go through the course with you, a traditional format. So when they gave us that opportunity to switch from the CAM program to the standard course curriculum, I jumped at that opportunity. And of course, you had to sit out a full semester. And so when I set out that full semester, it actually ended up being a year because I think I had to transfer in 2007 from uh, Georgia, where I was stationed,
Okay.
to back down to Florida.
Oh.
So that break took about a year to transition from the CAMs, which are those knowledge modules. And if we have some old school Walden students, they may remember the CAMs, and they may have a totally different experience with those CAMs,
Yeah.
but mine was not good. So I was very happy and pleased to switch over to a more traditional coursework. And once I switched over to traditional coursework, I was able to get through the basic core material and keep moving along with my doctorate degree.
Okay. Okay. And so we got folks tuning in. Future Dr. Ben, we appreciate you tuning in. And he's a military man himself, saying Walden is a great school, and we appreciate that. And we're going to go ahead and move on to Dr. Huff. And we already got questions for you, Dr. Huff. Already a question for you. So you're in the program now. Family, I think that's always a big thing, especially here on the Doc Chat, that folks want to know. How do you do it with the family? How do you get this thing done, especially an online institution?
Well, not to mention I work full time.
Oh, just throw that in there. Go ahead, throw that.
So it was very challenging, and there were a few semesters where I did take a break. So I started in 2008 and I finished in 2016.
Okay.
So it was a long journey, but I was determined to finish. Just to say it again, it was extremely challenging.
Yeah. And what were the kind of shocking moments when you were in the program that you were like, oh, this is real? Like, this is a serious deal right here.
So I went to get my doctorate, not for professional reasons, but because I was a non-traditional student when I obtained my bachelor's degree. I went back, and I think I was in my 30s. So I remember being at church, and the pastor, Dr. Cynthia Hale, she was congratulating all the students who graduated. And at this time, I had an associate's degree. And so she said, well, you might as well keep on going and get them all. And so that was my motivation.
Thank you, church
to keep
mother.
going.
Thank you.
So
Thank
it was
you.
all personal.
Oh, and so you're in the classes, and which class was it that you were just like, okay, I can throw my computer out the window right now? Like this might not work.
It wasn't the classwork. It was more of the dissertation part. That was difficult, getting the committee to approve the dissertation. That
Okay.
was challenging.
Okay.
I remember hiring an editor.
Yeah.
And she charged me $1,000, and then it still didn't pass.
Oh.
And I couldn't get my money back. It was horrible.
Oh.
So yeah, so the dissertation stage was the most difficult for me. The coursework wasn't difficult.
Yes, I concur. I concur. The coursework you can get, well, for me, once I got through those cams, but once I transitioned to the standard traditional course classes, I sailed through those. The dissertation, no one tells you about the dissertation process.
That's right. That's right.
Until you are in the dissertation process. And everyone's dissertation process is going to be unique. There are going to be some common themes behind it, but everyone's experience is going to be unique because everyone will have a dissertation committee. And no one tells you this when you start your doctorate, that you've got to have a dissertation committee. And it depends on your ability to get to know instructors, and you've got to figure out who's going to be best suited for you when you establish your committee. Now, of course, we had to go to different conferences.
Residencies.
Residency, we call them residencies. You had to go to these residencies, and you had to pay for them. But you had to go to the residency, and depending upon where the residency was, you know, you had to pay for your lodging, your room and board to get there, your flight, everything. But at those residencies, you got the opportunity to meet many of the professors and the instructors, and then you got the opportunity to decide, well, once you get to the dissertation phase, who might be best suited to be on my committee.
Okay.
So that was one of the advantages of going to the residencies. And then when you meet these instructors, and when you're ready to establish your committee, then you at least have some names and some people and some recommendations that you want to try and ask to be on your committee. But life happens to your committee members.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure Lauren can probably chime in with this as well. But by the time I started with my first committee chair and members, by the time I actually graduated, I think the only person, actually every member of my committee had been changed from the start until the end. Dr. Christy Roberts ended up being my committee chair at the end of the program. And I had a good committee chairperson in her to help see me through the final stages. But that committee chairperson plays a huge role with respect into how well you actually get through that process. I've had a committee member retire right in the midst of my dissertation. And of course, I didn't know the member had retired, that instructor had retired. It didn't tell me. I only found out because I kept wanting to get some feedback, and finally I had to call the school to find out what the status was, why I was not getting feedback from this particular instructor. And I was told that they had resigned, retired, or left the school. And so that's just one committee member experience. I had to fire one.
Be real sometime.
I mean, that's when it's getting real, because what people don't realize when you start that dissertation process, every term is money.
That's right.
And when you're going through this process and you need feedback from a particular person, and they give 2 weeks, they have 2 weeks to respond. So by the time you send them something, they've got 2 weeks to respond back to you. Okay, at 2 weeks. Now the terms are generally 9-week terms. Okay, so by the time you actually send them something, that's 2 weeks, then they have 2 weeks to send you something back, that's a month. And sometimes all they want you to do, or the response back that you get, is to change a comma or a period.
That's real. That's real.
It was as simple as that sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the dissertation process is long and arduous, and it's not always because of the student's fault. It's because you're dealing with at least 3 members of a committee who each want you to do different things. And when you start that dissertation, the only thing that is yours is the idea behind what you want to write on. Once you present that idea to your committee person and you get it approved, from that point on, it is no longer yours; it's theirs.
That's real.
And I had one name for my dissertation. By the time I actually graduated, I didn't even know what the name of my dissertation was
You mean
because
the title? You didn't know the title.
changed it.
Yeah.
He changed the name, changed the name because they didn't like the name of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in their hands. It definitely is. And Dr. Huff, we gonna go to you because yeah, Dr. Reddy said he didn't have to. He went the old school route, just figure out himself. And you a good man because sometimes they'll kick that back too. I got mine kicked back trying to do it myself. I have one editor kicked back. Got to look. This stuff ain't no joke. It is no joke. But we appreciate the wonderful comments. Hey, if y'all tuning in, make sure you let us know here on the Doc Chat. We appreciate you. Dr. Huff is going to go into her dissertation fund that she had. You said it was no joke for you. Tell us about that process.
Well, I didn't have a lot of challenges with my committee. My chair, she remained my chair the entire time, but she was extremely busy because I wasn't the only person whose dissertation she was chairing. She also had to teach classes, and she didn't respond within the 2 weeks, even though she was supposed to. And a lot of times I had to write her boss and kind of tell on her because she wasn't cooperating. But yeah, my committee, we worked really well together. I really wanted to study fatherlessness. Like I said before, that is my purpose. And so they allowed me to find a way to study that population within my dissertation. So I don't really have any complaints about my committee. I just feel like the dissertation process was too long. I came in, my master's degree is in public policy, public administration. Okay. And so I had credit coming in. So I didn't think that I should have been in the program as long as I was.
That's the trick. That's the trick.
Dragging it on.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest complaint.
Yeah, that's the trick. You can bring in credits thinking it's going to cut your program time down. It doesn't. It cuts down the credits. It don't cut down the time.
Right.
That's the thing that makes it tough. It's a great thing to learn some of those key things. And we appreciate Dr. Reddy again talking about, your methodologists, talking about the different pieces, different people. When you look at your chapters, Dr. Lawrence, what was the chapter that you looked at and was like, this is wild. Like, I feel like I'm doing it right, but maybe I'm not. I don't know.
So I conducted a qualitative study. It was a phenomenological study. I couldn't even pronounce the word at first. I had to keep practicing it.
We didn't know what that word meant.
Yeah. Right. And so that was the most challenging part, just having to understand, especially to be prepared for the defense. Mm-hmm. What exactly is this type of study? So just trying to get prepared for that. But I think that's the only chapter that was challenging. What about you, Lawrence?
Well, you know what? That is so true. That we had to learn a whole new entire language.
Yep.
When you start the dissertation process to determine which methodology is going to be best suited for your program of study and for what is going to be able to extrapolate what your dissertation is going to be about and how to prove or how to support your dissertation. And you have to select. Now, in my particular case, I actually had to go through several different uh, methodologies in order to, with my committee, to actually figure out which was the best suited for my program. Once we determined exactly what methodology I would use, then it was a little bit smoother sailing for me. But it took about a good year and a half for me to actually go through different methodologies and the research associated with each one before I really kind of locked in on a methodology that supported what I was trying to prove.
Yep.
And it was a learning experience, but you don't uh, learn this until you're actually in the process. And I think maybe something that a doctoral school might think is something worthwhile providing some instruction on is at maybe some of these residencies is early in the during the residency that maybe that first residency to discuss that so that you introduce students to that concept so that it's not foreign to them once they are with their committee and once they are trying to determine the best method to pursue their academic goals.
That's good. That's good right there. We are here on the Doc Chat. Got Dr. Lawrence Davis. Dr. Lauren Huff, I'm telling you, they are dropping dimes right now. You can call them, if it's this generation, maybe Steph Curry. If it's our generation, it might be a Gary Payton. You know what I'm saying? It might be a Jason Kidd, but they are dropping dimes today, and we appreciate them so much. So we're going to get into our fun part, which I always do and I always love, is we show that finish line time. Let me get that guy up there. Make sure we're good. Tell me about that day, that graduation. You finally made it, finally got hooded. What was that like, Dr. Davis?
Okay, let me tell you, we were just taking pictures. It didn't matter if you knew the person or not. You take the picture. Man, I was just happy. I was just happy to be there. That road, that long haul was over. I don't know those two guys that I took the photo with, but we happened to be in the same area, and we just started taking pictures. You know, well, we were in our group. And, the, uh, those that graduated in the same program as me, that's how we ended up being seated during the uh, confirmation process.
Okay.
And those guys was in my group, and we were just laughing and talking and having a good time. I think it was just a matter of us, the culmination of a long road, and we were all just happy to be there. That's why I have a smile on my face. That was before. That was before I actually looked at how much I had to pay back.
Oh, hey, that's the real talk right there. I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal, phenomenal moment that I'm just geeked that you had a chance to go there. Because where was graduation at?
Mine was Virginia. I think it was Lansdowne, Virginia, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mine was in Orlando.
Okay.
What?
I think that's the one I've seen where I feel like when I see it, and a lot of times I think it's in August or something like. It's like a black parade down there. I've made black people galore graduating with degrees from Walden. It's beautiful to see. Definitely beautiful to see.
Now you threw some stats at us earlier about graduates from Walden University, and at the appropriate time, I do want to kind of make a comment on that. I don't know if now is the time to do it, but at some point in time, I want to make a comment about the number of graduates from Walden University.
Okay. Give us a second. Let's make sure we show some love. Dr. Huff here. Let me see if I can get her up here. Let's see. If I get over here. Oh, the hooding is beautiful.
Yeah.
Look, you got the best cameraman in the world. They made sure they got you all the way across the stage, all the way. The whole moment there. And let me make sure we get the other ones up here. Give me 1 second. I think I'm ready. All right. Give me 1 second here.
I think my hooding was a little bit more difficult than yours, Dr. Huff, because I had to bend way down.
There we go. There we go. Now, did you know this gentleman by you? Like, did you?
No, I didn't know anybody.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Those were my sisters.
Okay. Okay. They made it down with you in Orlando.
Yes.
That's dope. Oh, that's awesome right there. Definitely awesome. So you're there. Who did the video? What are your feelings? You finally made it. Finally got to cross stage. You had a medallion on as well. Shout out your medallion, folks.
Honor Society.
Nice. There you go. There you go.
No, it was a great experience. And I like to say that when I set a goal for myself, I like to accomplish it. So I was able to do that. So it was just a wonderful experience.
What did it mean for your sisters to be there and to see you walk across stage, get hooded? I mean, you grew up with these young ladies. What did it mean for them to see you get this done?
I think for them, it was just motivation that they can do anything that they put their minds to. I'm the oldest. So, the oldest, you can't carry a lot of weight. You have to set the example.
That's real. That's real right there. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
So, yep, we're going to go back to that question that you had, Doc. Let me make sure I get this pulled down. There we go.
Now that I saw her medallion, I'm trying to remember what I did with mine.
We appreciate you, Dr. Woody. We appreciate you once again. Now, let me make sure he had another question here. Okay, so looking at cohort, or did y'all do it individually? So, Dr. Davis, which one did you do?
Completely individual.
Me too.
Okay. So, yeah, it's one of those things that just depends on the institution. Like my institution was cohort based. But I'll be honest, it feels like you get done on your own when you get done. That's just what it is. So sometimes it just depends on the program, but it's still your journey at the end.
It is.
So Dr. Davis, we were going back to the statistics. You were saying you had something to say about the statistics that I brought up. It's about y'all institution, the work y'all doing there, doing great work.
You mentioned that Walden University graduates more black and minority graduates.
They're number one in African American doctorate degrees across the board. Period.
Now, one thing I would caution everyone about some of those statistics is that simply because Walden graduates more, you also need to understand that Walden has more minority and black students enrolled.
Why is that?
Okay, because one, Walden actually does marketing towards that attracts minorities and blacks. Okay, so inherently you're going to get more students, more minority students, more black students enrolled. Mm-hmm. And of course, the more you enroll, then subsequently you're going to get more to graduate. Now, but the percentage of those that enroll versus those that actually graduate, I think that is the statistic that we really need to look at, because you've got millions of Black and brown folks enrolling in Walden University. And then you have a certain percentage of those that enroll actually graduate from the school with the intended degree.
Yeah.
Now, Lauren and I both took 7 and 8 years to graduate. Now, of course, that's a long, arduous journey from us that ultimately ended up with a successful degree. But there's thousands that started with us that never got their degree. And within those that started with me back in 2007, Lauren, because she started right after me, Lauren and maybe 2 others are the only individuals that I know for certain that actually graduated, that got their degree conferred. And that's what you need to understand. It has to be conferred. Okay, your conferred degree. To my knowledge, only 3. And the last one, that third one that started with us, just recently got that degree, or maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Okay.
So you're talking about almost 10 years. And it's not an easy journey to make. And I will caution everybody that is thinking about pursuing a doctorate degree. The reality is most folks that start a doctoral program do not graduate.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you look at the real statistics, only 1% of people in the less than 1% of people in the United States actually have a doctorate degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it would be an interesting percentage to determine exactly how many of those graduates and then those people with conferred doctoral degrees come from Walden University, taking into consideration the fact that Walden enrolls more.
Yeah.
But when you look at that percentage and when you nug down into that percentage, what exactly is the percentage of people that enroll in Walden University that are actually graduating and conferred? Because I tell you, that dissertation process, that breaks a lot of people, because when you have a 12-week, I think a 12-week length of coursework to get done when you're working on your dissertation, those weeks fly by pretty fast before the beginning of the term to the end of the term, and you may have only tweaked a paragraph or 2 on your dissertation, just because you're still waiting for responses back to that paragraph that you tweaked.
With the period.
Yeah, with a
Comma.
period or a comma. And woe and behold, if they tell you need to change your whole, I don't like what you wrote. let's start all over again. And then they got 2 weeks for you to try and figure out what more they want you to do.
That's real. That's real right there. And Dr. Whitty, he said he's in the fire and he's just trying to get done. And he just wanted to make sure he wasn't ABD at least long. We all ABD just for a little bit, but you don't want that to be so long at the end of your name when you put it on LinkedIn or put it on somewhere that folks just think that's a degree. That's not a degree, folks. That's not a degree. That means you still got to get it done.
There's a lot of ABDs out there.
Yeah, it is. So we got a question here. We appreciate you, Dr. Renter. She was on the show a few weeks ago. And kind of going with Dr. David said, we'll bounce it over to Dr. Huff there. Like you said, you were there. You didn't really know anybody at graduation, but these people got done. But what do you think maybe was the difference between the people you started with getting done and not getting done?
I would probably say the amount of money it cost to stay in the program.
How much is it?
You want a real number?
Real number. This is the doctorate. I need real numbers.
My doctorate cost me $161,000.
Okay.
And then the time it takes to complete the program. I did not think it was going to take 8 years. Yeah. So, my children were in middle school when I started, and they were seniors when I finished.
Yeah, I think I was a major. No, I was a newly promoted captain to major, and I was a lieutenant colonel when I finished.
Yeah. And you're looking at these programs, and if you could encourage somebody that's saying, Walden is for me, but what would you tell them before they went into Walden, what they should expect, and some tips on maybe what they should do before they even get in?
I'm gonna let Lauren go first on this.
Well, I just want to preface what I say. I finished in 2016, so I don't know how it is now. When I was there, I thought that my chair was dragging it on just to get more money. I was so upset with the process.
Yeah.
I just thought it just took entirely too long. Everything she told me to correct, I corrected. And then when I sent my dissertation back to her, then she found something new wrong with it. And I would always think, well, why didn't you just do that the first time? And so even though she and I have a nice relationship now, at the time it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I constantly challenged her, and like I said before, sometimes I did have to write her superior when I felt like she was just making it difficult for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun, but I'm happy I finished.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's rewarding.
That's good. Dr. Davis.
It was definitely not fun. Not fun at all. And like I said, I for the listeners out there and the viewers out there, I will say, hey, look, be sure that this is what you want before you start the process, because what we're talking about tonight doesn't even tip the scale as to what will happen with each and every one of the individuals that are going to pursue this journey, because it's going to be a unique journey. And I would want, if you start this journey, make sure you start a journey because it's something that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I completed it simply because I was just too bullheaded to quit. And I don't start something and quit something. So I stuck with it. What Lauren said about the time and how it looked as if the dissertation process was being dragged out, I totally concur with her. There's absolutely no reason for a dissertation to take this long. I finished all of the core coursework in about 2 years.
Yeah.
The dissertation took 6 expletive years.
This is real. That's real.
And I'm like, Lord have mercy. And every term, that's more and more money. And when you have a committee that has other students that teach, their time is valuable to them.
Yeah.
Your time is valuable to you.
Yeah.
But when you're working on that dissertation, their time with respect to your money don't equate.
That's right. That's
okay.
Right.
And so students need to be very, very prepared, not only financially, but they really need to know, need to ask themselves, why am I pursuing this doctorate? Is my career advancement hinging on a doctorate degree? Am I pursuing a doctorate for all the right reasons? And then sometimes the right reason is simply because you want to do it, and that's fine. But if you make a decision like that, we need to make sure that prospective doctoral candidates understand a doctorate degree from any institution means that if they confer, and it's not graduate, it's confer a doctorate degree to you, you are forever linked to that institution because they have said they have conferred a doctoral degree to this particular person, which means there is no other degrees that you can achieve. There's no other academic pursuits for you. You have reached the pinnacle of academic success. And these institutions don't do that liberally.
No.
So even though Walden University does confer more doctoral degrees than anybody else, critically examine and look at that number, and you will see that they Walden enrolls more in the doctoral programs.
Yeah.
The percentage of graduates in the doctoral programs is a totally different number.
That's true. That's true. And I appreciate Dr. Reddy once again. I like that MAD acronym: motivated, adamant, and determined out there. And I'm telling you, expect that challenge. And that's anywhere you go. But that's why we got two of the greatest minds here, Dr. Huff, Dr. Davis, telling you about that Walden journey. So we got another question here because y'all are answering these so amazingly well, which I appreciate. Does Walden University offer funding options?
It's all traditional. Your funding options are, you do the FAFSA. Okay, that's one funding option. You can do loans. That's from private companies. That's another funding option.
Yeah.
You can pay out of pocket. I paid predominantly, believe it or not, I paid out of pocket for the vast majority of my time at Walden University. Wow. That $160,000 was accumulated in less than 3 years. Once I knew exactly how much it was, I just paid out of pocket. But then you still have to pay back what FAFSA gave you. And I also need to caution students, when you accept the FAFSA and the monies that they give you, if you do not use that money, and I thought I was pretty good with money, but you need to make sure that you tell Walden University and FAFSA to put that you're not accepting that money.
That's very true.
Because once you accept it, even if you accept it with the intentions of just putting it into a savings account or whatever account that you want to use, that money is that money is accumulating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't intend on mine being that high, but by the time 6 years was up of working on that dissertation, and still predominantly paying most of it out of my pocket for the last 4 or 5 years, I still ended up with a huge federal loan debt. And that's why I was hoping that the situation with President Biden would work. But
it's going to work. It's going to work. We need that to work.
There are too many Republicans out there that don't want it to work. So I decided to just go ahead on and pay mine off, because every time I paid a monthly note, I was like, man, because remember, even if you stick with a Department of Education loan and you're paying back DOE, okay, you still have to pay those monies back, even though the interest may not be accrued, and the payment may be a little higher than a private company. That's how the private companies get a lot of students. They'll give you a lower monthly rate, but what happens on the back end of that is that it extends the period of payment. So so you're paying only interest for about 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. Well, probably about 7 years for a 15-year loan. Yeah. So the first 7 years, you're not paying on the principal. You're only paying on the interest. And I refused to do that. I just went ahead on and paid mine off. But I caution everybody: not everybody can just come off that kind of money.
Of course.
Okay. Otherwise, if you pursue a doctorate degree and if you need financial aid, okay, you're looking at with the way that Walden does it, and Lauren and I are two prime examples. You're looking at a dissertation process that could be anywhere from 5 to 10 years. That's a lot of money. So make sure students look at the cost first. What's on your heart might need to be critically examined by your financial situation.
That's real. That's real right there. And Dr. Huff, just looking at, kind of final thoughts, would you do it all over again? And how is life now that you're on the other side?
I would do it again. I'm glad that I was able to finish my degree. I do think that is something that if that's something that you want to accomplish, definitely go for it. And I don't regret it at all.
Good. And our good friend Dr. Rory had a question: does Walden have a doctoral completion pathway? I'll be honest, I don't really know a program that does it. Can you get it done? If they told you the tricks of the trade, everybody might do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's the mystery of the doctorate degrees. And then going to something that Dr. Davis said, talking about the institution paying for it. For the most part of what I've seen, Walden does a phenomenal job of going to schools, K through 12 schools, higher education institutions, nonprofit institutions, and says, hey, we want your employees to come to our institution. Here's the discount we'll give you if you allow them to use either tuition reimbursement or professional development funds to get a degree. That's where a lot of education professionals or people that want degrees get their degrees from Walden, because they know how to go to the institutions and get them to vouch for their employees to come to the school. They do a phenomenal job at that. So
yeah, I would say look for every tuition assistance platform that you have available at your disposal,
that's right.
and carefully consider the financial situation with the actual understanding that at Walden University, and both Lauren and I are prime examples, but we're talking about a time period that you're going to have to devote to achieving and pursuing this doctoral degree that also has a financial component to it, and you need to also assess and evaluate, okay, is this financially something prudent and feasible for me, and can I do it, and while also fulfilling and meeting my other financial obligations, and your family, your time. Lauren had to, raise a family. I had to raise kids and work full time like she was doing. The pursuit of a doctorate degree needs to be carefully considered and weighed, and consider all of those issues and situations.
That's amazing. That's awesome right there. But Dr. Davis, if individuals wanted to know how to reach out to you, maybe want more information about your doctoral journey or Walden, how can they get in touch with you?
I can be. I like to be reached via email. That way, I can actually respond back to people, and I don't mind giving my email. It's ldavis753. So easy. ldavis753 @yahoo.com.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's the easiest way to get in contact with me, and I will respond back. That email is associated with my phone, so if it pops up, I can respond back, and I definitely will respond back.
That's awesome. And Dr. Huff, where can folks find you if they have questions?
My email address is lauren@daughtersneedafather.org. We also are on Facebook, DNAF Incorporated.
Okay, that's awesome. Let me tell y'all, folks, these are some amazing doctors here. I appreciate them so very much. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, all the great comments, all the great questions. People want to know about Walden, and how do you get folks to learn about Walden? You bring Walden doctors on the Doc Chat. That's what you do. And so I am just so geeked and excited they were able to come on with us. We got a couple more minutes. Dr. Lawrence, final thoughts.
Hey, final thoughts. one of the greatest achievements that I have in life is to actually be able to say that in my family, not only am I the first one to have a bachelor's, but a master's, and now I have a doctorate degree. My whole family says that with pride. Now, I'm real low key about it, but those that know me and my family and friends and relatives, they're real proud to say that they have someone in their family that they know of that's blood related to them that is actually a doctor. And that's what, for me, is the significance of the doctorate degree, because now they know that they can do it. If I can do it, they can do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dr. Huff, final thoughts.
Thank you so much for having us on the show today. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my journey.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to tell people if that's what you really want, just go for it. And I think with that degree, it just gives you more credibility in your area of focus and just in the community.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Whitty's loving it. We appreciate you, Dr. Whitty. You the man. You're going to be graduating soon. You're going to be just like them. And then I got to have you on the
Hang in
doctor.
there. Hang in there.
You can do it.
That's it. That's it. Once again, this was a Doc Chat. I had Dr. Lawrence Davis, Dr. Lauren N. Huff, phenomenal Walden University doctorate degree graduates. Thank y'all so much for the time. We appreciate y'all. Y'all part of the Doc Chat family. And y'all stay tuned. We even got some great stuff going into June. But until then, God bless y'all. We appreciate
Thank
y'all.
you so much.
And until next
Thank
time,
you.
peace out.
Peace.
Bye.